Hey there, do you enjoy lounging by the beach with your favorite umbrella drink? Or maybe taking a walk down the sand and maybe hitting up the pool or having a great lunch right on the sand? Well, if that's you, then you might enjoy living in Clearwater Beach, Florida, right there smack dab on the beach. Well, today we're going to talk about all the pros and the cons of maybe owning a home and living in the magnificent area of Clearwater Beach. So grab your favorite umbrella drink and let's go. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe to know everything going on in the current market here in the Tampa, St. Petersburg area. My name is Gina. My team and we've been helping people move to the area for the last 11 years. So whether you're looking to buy a new home, buy a vacation home, or just come enjoy the sunny weather down here in Tampa, Florida, and make this your new place to be, reach out to us anytime. All of our information is in the description box below, and we would love to help you make Tampa your new home. All right, so for many of you who are watching this video, you might be able to do this video because you've been to Clearwater Beach so many times and you love it. If you've ever thought of possibly living there and maybe you don't know much about it, or you want to just kind of know what the pros and cons from a local are of living in Clearwater Beach, well, that's what we're going to talk about. So the first one I want to start with today is a pro. So pro number one, the most obvious reason why you would want to live in Clearwater Beach is Clearwater Beach. You're right near one of the most beautiful, amazing beaches probably in the world. You have the white, soft, so gorgeous, amazing sand all along the whole entire beachfront. You have amenities where you can shop and go on adventures. You can play mini golf. You can take excursions out to go fishing or watch dolphins or anything that has to do with boating or anything water related. That is right there. You have the intercoastal side where you can go to the aquarium. You can access a couple restaurants and medical facilities and local food places like grocery stores and places where you can get just everyday items. You also have a yacht club. You have the sunsets every single night where you can literally sit on the beach and watch the sunset. You have the beautiful waters of the Gulf right there. And it's just an amazing place to enjoy, whether you're looking for a place to just relax or a place to have your friends and family over, or just an adventure along the beach every day. That can be yours if you live on Clearwater Beach, because the beach, no matter where you live, is 5 minutes away from everything. So if you're lucky enough to have some of the beachfront properties, you're looking at homes definitely over $5 million, or you're looking at more of a condo style type of property. Otherwise, you're looking at living a little bit more inland in smaller single family homes that range anywhere from $500,000 over $1 million. And you can check out some of those places if you want to know a little bit more about that in another video. But I would say my first pro of living in Clearwater Beach is definitely living near one of the most amazing beaches. Okay, with that being said, we're going to talk about con number one. Con number one is that when you live near the beach, like you've heard in probably every other video that I talk about regarding the beach, you are near water. And when you are near water and you're looking to own a home, one of the things that you have to take into consideration is that you are in a flood zone area. You are in an area where you're definitely going to be required to have flood insurance. And all of these costs are going to be higher for you because you are at a higher risk of flooding and surge and things like that than a lot of the inland properties. Most everything on Clearwater Beach, because it's sort of an island area, is going to have this no matter what. Now, sometimes you can get away with a lower insurance policy cost or get away with not having some of this if your property is at a specific elevation, or if you live in a high-rise building or an apartment building. Some of those have slightly different rules because you are so high above. You don't really have that, but you're still going to deal with it as far as like anything surface level, single family homes and things like that. So that's one of the cons, just because flood insurance and insurance in general, when you're in an area where you have to think about that, is very expensive, and it does impact your overall cost of owning your own home. Okay, now let's go back over here and talk about pro number 2. Pro number 2 is for all of you friends who like there to be a ton of stuff going on. People, places, music, everything happening all the time. If you like that, you're gonna like living in Clearwater Beach. Specifically because there's always stuff going on. Clearwater Beach, because there's so many people there all the time, mostly in high tourist season, but even in non-high tourist season, you just have a lot of stuff going on down at the beach. So if you want to take a 5-minute walk to, your favorite restaurant, or check out some of the things that are going on, the excursion, the day trips, the people playing volleyball on the beach, go down the pier, fish, enjoy the water, pop over and go to the aquarium. All that is there. And if you like to be in an area where there's a lot of hustle and bustle and a lot of things going on for pretty much all the whole entire year, maybe not in the very early mornings, but you will have that. And there's always friends and fun things going on. So if you like that hustle and bustle, then Clearwater Beach might be a place for you. Now, with that, I will say that if you live in the upper part of Clearwater Beach, that you do feel like it is a quaint and quiet environment when you want it to be. So don't think that because the area around you is always got something going on, that if you do live there, you're gonna feel like that's all around you all the time. You do have areas and homes where the neighborhoods are quiet and peaceful and quaint and beachy and relaxing. So that is just something to keep in mind. If you want to be near everything that's going on, you do have that, but you can also have a tranquil experience in your home as well once you do go home. So just keep that in mind. That's my pro number 2. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to con number 2, because con number 2 sort of relates to pro number 2. And that is, when you live on Clearwater Beach, because there's everything going on, you have to consider that Clearwater Beach is extremely tourist driven. There's a lot of tourists that come in from all over the world, and there's only literally 2 ways to get into Clearwater Beach: over the Clearwater Bridge and then up from Bel Air. So during high tourist season, especially, living in Clearwater Beach might be a little bit of a headache if you have to go in and out, and just getting around in general, because there are a lot of people that don't necessarily know where they're going exactly. And a lot of people just walking around and enjoying things. You have things that go from early morning to late at night. You have, like I mentioned, the boating, the fishing, the driving around, seeing the sights. The restaurants are more crowded. The stores are more crowded. Everything is more crowded. The beaches are more crowded. So you just have a lot more happening. And when that happens, because of people from out of town and people visiting, even in the winter months when most tourists are not there, there's always an influx of people because the weather is nice, the locals come out. It's a time where people are gonna go and enjoy the beach. Anytime you live near a high traffic beach or a very popular beach, you're going to have this sort of thing. So I've known a lot of people who their dream was to live like in Clearwater Beach. And then once they sort of experienced the traffic and the congestion and just all of the people all the time, they decided that maybe they would live over the bridge and just drive in when it was a little bit less crowded. So like I mentioned, if you don't care about that and you're not driving anywhere, you're gonna walk, you're gonna bike, you should probably be just fine living there and you'd probably enjoy it. So you gotta weigh those 2 options, but I would definitely say that that is something to be aware of and might be a con if you're not that kind of person. All right, pro number 3, And that is that when you live in or near Clearwater Beach, you don't have to live there, but it's a benefit because you are very near, it's like right in your backyard, the Clearwater Beach and Yacht Club. And if you've never been there, you never looked into it, if you like yacht clubs, if you like to be a part of an atmosphere where you can go and you can have dinner with your families, where they have different events like dinner clubs or lunch, events for food in the dining hall, or you want to play tennis literally like right on the beach. They have tennis courts right on the beach. You want to take your family or yourself to swim in their Olympic-sized pools. You want a place where you can go and have sort of like that country club atmosphere with direct access to the beach that's private and not part of like the tourist area of Clearwater Beach, but you want to enjoy the beach but in a more quaint, private setting sort of environment, and you just want to be part of something, you can join this amazing beach and country club and yacht club. So it's definitely something to look into. It is located on the tip of Clearwater Beach, sort of at the very tip end of where all the homes are located. So definitely something to look into. It's a great place to go and enjoy if you like that atmosphere and you want to live near something where you can enjoy that and not really have to go anywhere else to enjoy kind of the things around you and the amenities that are close by that you don't have to go search for in downtown. Now, wait, because if you live at the other end of Clearwater Beach, down below all of the hotels and everything like that, right before you get to Bel Air, you might also be interested in the Clearwater Yacht Club. Now, the Clearwater Yacht Club doesn't necessarily have tennis courts, but they do have swimming pools. And it is more of like what you would think of as a traditional yacht club for boats. They have a lot of docks and places where you can put your boats, and they do have a tiki bar. All right, let's talk about another con of living in Clearwater Beach. Now, this is con number 3, I believe. And con number 3 is that when you live in a beach town like Clearwater Beach, like I mentioned before, Clearwater Beach is sort of on its own little island. So you have 2 bridges that go into Clearwater Beach. And if there is ever an emergency or you need to evacuate for a hurricane or something happens, you literally have 2 ways of getting out of Clearwater Beach. And when you account for everybody that is on the island area of Clearwater Beach, that could lend to a lot of delays, a lot of traffic, a lot of frustration, and things like that, especially when everyone's emotions are a little bit heightened in emergency situations. So just consider that if you are going to live in Clearwater Beach, in some of the homes or apartments or condos in Clearwater Beach, just keep in mind that if we are looking at a possible storm or an emergency where you might need to evacuate, take a little bit extra time to maybe think about preparing and leaving ahead of time and not waiting to the last minute, because most times you're going to hit a lot of traffic getting out of that area. Plus, if you think about it, once you cross over those bridges, you're now meeting up with everybody else in Pinellas County trying to do the same thing. So just be mindful about that if you do live on the beach area. Something kind of to think about on any beach, but especially Clearwater, because you are somewhat like landlocked there, where you only have 2 access points to get out. Okay, let's talk about pro number 4. Pro number 4 is that Clearwater Beach is very walkable and safe. So when I say that, Clearwater Beach is about 2.5 miles from end to end. So if you want to walk the beach and you want to just walk one way, maybe get a ride back, 2.5 miles. If you want to walk both ways, 5 miles. If you want to, you could take in and around all the neighborhoods. It's so quiet and quaint and nice. People are always walking, riding bikes, just casually enjoying that sort of family relaxing beach atmosphere that you're going to find and what you think of when you think of like a beach town. Now, if you want to go from, let's say, a home where you live and walk across down through the downtown and pop over to the other side of Clearwater, you have, condos and apartment buildings down there. Now you can also walk over the Sand Key Bridge and go over to Sand Key Beach if you want to take a walk around the park down there. It's a super nice area for just enjoying seeing the water. You can fish. There's like a little bit of nature, more nature preserve type of area down there. They have kids swing sets and things like that. And not to mention another huge beach, which isn't as pristine and nice sand-wise as Clearwater, but it's pretty gosh darn close. So if you like to walk though, you have all this and it's very easy to get around. And even if you like to bike or skateboard or roller skate or anything like that, it's very easy to get in and around the area. And you're pretty safe because there's always sidewalks and ways to get around without having to cross over some of the major roads, even when you're going over the bridges. So that's definitely, I'd say, a pro of living in the area. All right, my final con of today's video is that if you live in Clearwater Beach, or any beach really along the Pinellas County area, you have to consider at least the effects of what we call red tide. Now, if you've heard anything about this, you probably have your own opinions and thoughts on this, but red tide is basically just it's an algae that grows out in the ocean waters. And this algae can overproduce at certain times, and it can create a very strong smell and sort of like toxins to fish and things, because when they ingest this algae in the waters, it basically like clogs their lungs and then they die. And because of this, a lot of dead fish will wash up along the shores, and we just get this sort of allergy, smelly experience going on for certain times of the year when this algae bloom happens to overproduce. Now, because you're living in Clearwater Beach and you are on the beach, this is just something to consider because you are closer to it. So if you're very sensitive, your eyes or with inhalation or anything like that, it may affect you. You may want to consider looking into this further. If you are very, concerned about that sort of thing, it might not be an area where you would want to live all the time. It doesn't happen very much. We have seen it happen more so in the past few years than we have in the past, but it varies, and there isn't one, thing where I can say this is exactly what's causing it specifically. And so if that doesn't happen, it won't happen. You kind of take it gives and takes. So it's just something to consider, because if you lived a little bit more inland, you wouldn't have the breeze coming off of the water, and you wouldn't be as close to it as, because you're living right on the beach, you're closer to it than if you were inland, you wouldn't be as close to it. So you just might be affected by it a tiny bit more. So just keep that in mind, because sometimes, if you're not aware that this kind of thing happens, and then you buy this amazing home and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what is going on? It might kind of damper the situation. So look it up. We will do a video on it so you can learn a little bit more about it. But for now, just know that that would probably be my last con of living in Clearwater Beach. Okay, we're going to talk about my last pro. And my last pro kind of matches the color of my shirt. It has to do with the water. And when I say that the water is a pro, I am talking about all water and for all things. You have the beach, obviously, which is beautiful and warm most of the year. And it's a great just place to enjoy if you just like to lounge on the beach and have the water wash up on your legs. Or if you like to go swimming, you can do that too. There is the intercoastal area where you can kind of go and have a more personalized, quaint experience along the waterfront. You have all activities that have to do with anything to do with boating. if you want to take a boat out, if you want to rent a boat, if you want to take an excursion style to, go fishing way out, deep sea fishing, or if you want to, go dolphin viewing or anything like that, you have all those types of activities. Not to mention, like I just said, you have fishing. So if you like to have your own fishing gear and just want to, walk up to the waterfront or one of the pebble beaches that are around the area and fish, you can do that too. So you have those opportunities. If you're like, I love living by the beach, but I don't really like the beach, Gina. I don't really like the sand. Well, there's literally pools all over the place. And like I said, if you join a couple of the country clubs, you have access to pools pretty much all year long. And then finally, if you want to do some kind of fun water sport, but maybe you don't have a boat, you can always go over to Surf City, and it's like this huge surf warehouse, and they have where you can do like those wakeboard surfing mock style things. And that's always a fun kind of adventure if you've never done it, even for if you're a local, because you can always practice, So anything and everything to do with water, it's at your fingertips. And so I would say if you're a water person, that definitely might be a draw to Clearwater Beach, and you may love it there. All right, so I hope that video was super helpful for everybody, and I hope you enjoyed having your umbrella drink with me today and hearing all about the pros and cons of Clearwater Beach. Throw your comments below or any questions. I would love to answer them. And as always, I will talk to you later. Bye.